Hey everyone, welcome to another Capes and Lunatics special. It's me, Phil. I'm here with Charlie and Will. Everyone's excited because we're going to talk to, once again, I get to talk to the great, legendary Mr. Mark Waid. I'm sure everyone knows his work. Thank you for joining us, Mark.
Hold for applause.
Yes, friend of the show.
All right, so how do we want to start this?
You've got a million questions. Go with whatever you got.
Well, before we get to the upcoming stuff, I guess I wanted to get to the stuff that's already out. Charlie, we want to start with Avengers No Road Home.
Oh, we should. That was such a fantastic arc and book and title. Yeah. So much goes on in that book. And I know that it's like 4 of you guys writing that. How do you guys even write that? Is it like done in a story go round where you say, okay, I'm going to write the first 5 pages, you write the second 5 pages? Or do you guys actually, yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's actually 3 of us. It's Jim Zub, Al Ewing, and myself. And so what happens is we get in a room in New York, at the Marvel offices for a day and a half before we even start, and sort of block things out with Tom Brevoort and Alana Smith, who's his assistant. And I think C.B. Cebulski was there for a big part of it last time. And we just started knocking ideas around. Does this sound good? Does this sound good? What about this character? Who do we want to focus on this time? What can we do this big in the way we brought Hulk back last time? Well, there's Conan. Why don't we put Conan in? It's that sort of stuff that we sort of forge a Google spreadsheet of here are the characters, here's the beats we probably should hit with them, here's the issues that should happen in, and then it sort of fills in from there. It's a really good way of working. And so what happens, so we get our outline then, right? So that every issue, we're working far enough ahead where we do one every 2 weeks ourselves. And so with that issue, depending upon who the characters are, you do these 10 pages this week. And how about Al, you do these 5, and Mark, you do these 5. Or next time it'll be Mark, you do these 7, Jim, you do these 6, whatever. And sort of depending upon what characters we're sort of focused on. Like I was very focused on, say, Vision and Scarlet Witch a little bit this time. It all evens out in the number of pages we do, but I also have to give credit to Al and Jim because they did a lot of the heavy lifting this time. I was juggling a million other things at the same time. Hey, kid in the background.
That's Tristan. He's an official co-host.
I was, juggling a bunch of different things, so they were doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Plus, I don't know jack about Conan. Nothing, zero. I never read a Conan comic until like 3 months ago, and it's not because I didn't think it were. I'm sure they were good. Barry Windsor Smith, amazing artist, but it never, it just didn't appeal to me. And so I lived this, sort of very tidy Niles Crane sort of existence. And so Conan doesn't really speak to me, but, once I read him, I'm like, oh, I get it. Oh, I totally get it. But that said, Jim was the guy who really much carried the Conan torch. Al carried a lot of the metaphysical stuff. Again, this time around, they did a lot of the heavy lifting.
Okay. Well, I'll leave my Conan questions then. But so just because you mentioned Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Yeah.
Am I just crazy? Is there still something between those two? I know that she's officially with Brother Voodoo now, Dr. Voodoo now, who is going into Savage Avengers. But do you have do you imagine there's something between them, or is that just me shipping that?
I think you're projecting a little bit. I think that
probably, yeah. It's usually the case.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think they're more interesting as ex-husband, ex-wife, and still friends because they know each other in ways nobody else knows. But we don't have a lot of really good, functional, ex-spouses in the Marvel universe. And we also don't have a whole lot of relationships between adult men and adult women in the Marvel universe that are just deep friendships rather than any sort of romantic angle to them. So when I write them, I tend to write them as, there was a spark back in the day, but they've become different people, but they still love each other in a non-romantic way.
Okay, and I do love that because that is something that is great to see because you're right. There are not enough of those Milo Pepper Ann relationships out there where there is something of that deep abiding love that does not necessarily have to culminate in a relationship. So great, that is awesome, and I'm hogging the conversation.
But at the end of that story, I mean, I know Charlie and I were kind of speculating. It seems like there's been a change in status quo for Hercules. Did he lose like some of his immortality? Because he looked like, I don't know if it was the lighting or the art. He just looked like a little more gray on the sides and stuff.
That was the thing. That was the thing from the final. You know, I mean, he has his 12 labors. Well, holding the door open to the House of Ideas was the 13th labor, basically, and it took a little bit out of him. That was Al, and that was Al's suggestion that doing that alone, and you'll see that's when his got white, his hair got a little white. That was a huge feat on his part, and so that's what took it a little bit out of it. Kid in background falling over.
Yeah, he can be distracting, but you know the audience loves him, I assume.
He's the most entertaining thing on the screen. I totally get it.
Well, that's why he actually usually has a lot of great insights, but since we're pressed for time, I don't want to run into that.
All right.
Yeah, I apologize for being a little pressed for time. There's meteors falling out of the sky here like you wouldn't believe. So
please, you're the professional. Don't mind us.
Just writing his 50 books. That's all. All right. We'll jump around a little bit. Doctor Strange. I'm loving this series, especially this new arc with Galactus.
Thanks. And again, speaking of heavy lifting, man, that is 75% Barry, if not more. I'm loving doing it, but Barry came to the table. Barry and I have been working together for years on Empire, on Legion, 94, whatever it was back in the day, and a bunch of other projects. And Barry came up to me at a convention in Baltimore, I guess it was, a couple of years ago, and said, what about this? What about Galactus and Doctor Strange, and here's what happens? I'm like, that's a great idea. You should totally do that. And he's like, no, I want to do it together. I'm like, okay, fine. So we had pitched it as an original graphic novel, and that was the original. That's why you suddenly have like 4 Galactus stories happening at the same time at Marvel, because this was originally planned to be an OGN. But when we got there, Marvel was really not in the business of doing original graphic novels at this moment. So we decided, let's slot it in Doctor Strange. So the way it works is Barry and I came up with the beats. We talked it out at great length, and we still every issue talk things out. But there's no plot on paper so much as it is Barry then does an layouts for 20 pages with rough dialogue notes. And I just pick those up and go, oh, there's some great stuff here, and pump up the dialogue and do some character stuff. But I know where it ends, and it's a great ending. I mean, Barry really is stuck to the ending, stuck to the landing. And then beyond that, Jesus Saiz comes back, and we've got one issue that is straight, frankly, just straight funny. And then the one after that is a status quo changing story we thought to do with Doctor Strange before, and I can't say more than that.
But I know we love the what is it, like the magical accounting firm, like they handle all the magic.
Well, somebody has to keep track of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was so brilliant.
It reminded us of the Time Variance Authority, right, Charlie?
Oh yeah. But somehow better.
And I don't know if you guys go back this far, but there's a little bit of Steve Gerber Defenders in there, a little bit sort of the absurdity of taking something absurd and treating it fairly straightforward. And remember, as I keep reminding our editor, accountants they're not their own boss. Accountants work for somebody. So we still haven't gotten there yet. Who is the accountant working for? We will get there sooner than later.
I can't wait.
But the big Galactus thing, we were speculating, does this mean are we gonna get the Galactus Dormammu fight?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Well,
perfect.
Kind of. I mean, yes. But before that, I don't spoil anything. But before that, there's a really good Galactus Dormammu moment before there's an actual fight, and it's full page splash, and it's the best thing I've seen in Barry drawn like months and months.
Okay, I cannot wait for that. Yeah, not for nothing. When you have Umar there, and it is just. I don't even pronounce your name wrong, but it just seems like, hey, if he wants to eat things, why doesn't he eat my brother?
It's nuts. All right, let's get to, since we're pressed for time, let's get to Mark's upcoming projects, because I know these two gentlemen here are big fans of, back in the day, of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. So you're doing the history of the Marvel Universe miniseries?
Yeah. Now, I'm getting nervous about it because people seem to be way more excited about it than I was anticipating them being. It's a good project, and I really like it, but it's not an encyclopedia. I mean, it's not.
Okay.
It's like an actual story.
It's illustrated text, but there is a story to it. There's framing to it that gives it a story that gives you a bigger picture of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
But we've got 1 billion years to cover in 6 issues and 120 pages. So there's we're not going to get into the super fine details of Marvel continuity as much as sort of a really beautifully illustrated overview with some surprises. I mean, we made a point of looking for things we can put in there. A couple of them are interesting retcons. A couple are nods to stuff that you haven't seen yet. So we want, we want to make sure that there's something in there, even if you're a diehard Marvel fan, there's something in there that you didn't know.
So will it have new art for this series? I mean, I'm thinking back to Marvel Saga where they just cut panels.
It's straight up new art, and it's beautiful. Awesome. And Javier Rodriguez is doing sort of montage pages. He did. There was a piece done. I can't remember if it was Javier now or not, but there was a piece done years ago. That was a Captain America origin. That was basically just a one splash page that was sort of a montage vignettes of stuff. That's not a very good way of explaining it, but anyway, it's illustrated text, all the material, and then my understanding is in the back of every issue we're expanding it to to contain some text from the guys who make the official handbooks, to sort of give us a little more and allow us to drill down a little bit more on the stuff we didn't have time to spend time on in the first 20 pages.
And it's 6 issues, correct?
6 issues, yeah.
Mark Waid's writing the history of the Marvel Universe. They only give him 6 issues. Come on,
20 pages, man. It's a survey course. That's all I can tell you.
Well, I mean, here's a great question to ask on that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll be the judge of whether it's a great question, but you go
okay. I know you didn't read Conan, but like my actual first Marvel comic book was Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
So and the Hyborian Age and Conan used to be one of these central aspects of the Marvel Universe. At least I always felt it was every time there was a reference. Is that going to be incorporated? Is the Hyborian Age going to be in your Marvel saga or maybe less so?
Not, you can tell by the expression on my face. Not so much. Okay. It's not because I don't think it belongs there, but just because there's still licensing issues around some of that stuff. Like, we can use Conan all we want, but there are approvals. There are approvals in process. The Conan estate gets to say X, Y, and Z, and as they should. So sometimes you're not going to see Conan as referenced as heavily as you might.
Very good.
Distracted Charlie.
Yeah. I'm not the only one here. You guys ask a question.
I know. Will, you've been kind of quiet. Anything?
Let's talk about. I mean, she's pretty much the first lady of Marvel, and it's taken her a few decades now to get her own series. What's kind of your take, or what's your motivation, and what's the core of this book?
Talking about me and Invisible One, doing the Invisible Ones.
Yeah.
And it's 5 issues, and they said do whatever you want. I mean, Tom Brevoort said, you've got a good take on the character. You've always had a good take on the character. What do you want to do? And I knocked around a lot of ideas, and I also wanted to try to go in genre-wise into directions I haven't really spent a whole lot of time in. So rather than a straight-up superhero story, it's more of a spy story. It's very much a spy story. Black Widow shows up. A couple of other famous spy espionage figures in the Marvel Universe. She crosses paths with as she goes. Because again, she's invisible. That's the perfect spy power. So what we set up, we did the Shield comic a few years ago. I did 12 issues of the Shield comic, and we did a Sue Richards story in there that established that every once in a while, Nick Fury calls her up and she's like, all right, Reed, see you later. I'll be back tomorrow. And she goes off and does a little spy mission on the side and comes back. So she does this on a infrequent basis. So this is one of those times. actually, that's not really true. What happens is we start with a flashback to one of her earliest spy missions with a young spy, a young partner, a male partner back in the day. It's not a romantic thing. It's just she's made friends with this guy. We start with a flashback of that, and then we open up the present day and come to find out that guy has been kidnapped by enemy agents. We don't know where he is. We don't know why they kidnapped him, but all we know is that the last thing he said before they took him away was Stormy, which was his nickname for her back in the day. So she rightfully assumes, look, if he was calling out for me at the last minute, there must be a reason why he would want me specifically. So now she has to go around the world to Madripoor, to China, to Russia, following the chain to try to find that guy and then figure out what sort of world-ending chaotic stuff he's trying to stop at the end.
Who's your art team on this?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Sorry.
We're going to go to the iPhone right now, and we're going to. It's a pronunciation thing. That's why he's a new guy. He's terrific, and please hold. Your call is important to us. Really embarrassing.
Well, and you're also working with, I believe, Adam Hughes is doing the covers, or at least some of the covers.
Mattia de Lulis. Again, sans serifs don't do you any good, and because is it an I? Is it an L? I don't know. It's Mattia de Lewis, and Mattia, if you're out there listening, you have my sincerest apologies, and I will make them up to you.
Great.
Really great.
I know someone wanted me to ask you the question. Probably not, but is Namor going to show up in this Invisible Woman series?
There's no plans. There's so much more with Namor elsewhere, but I still have a couple issues to write. There may be a flashback. Who knows? And the conversation stops right there.
No Namor. Oh, never mind.
No. Actually, I do have one kind of very nerdy question. Because I actually was a huge fan of the S.H.I.E.L.D. series. And I just wanted to ask this. Well, first, actually, I guess two questions. Is first, will we see any of our beloved S.H.I.E.L.D. characters coming back in this book? But more to the point is maybe it's just me, the way I read it, but was there an implication in that Sue Storm issue that she actually was working with S.H.I.E.L.D. before she got powers? Or was it always after she got powers? No. Okay.
Always after.
Okay, so that was just my misreading.
Yeah, Nick Fury was smart enough to look at an Invisible Woman and say, "Hey, come fight for Uncle Sam."
Yes. Okay. So will we get Melinda May in there at any time?
We may well. I have 2 issues left to go and 40 pages left to go, and I got about 60 pages worth of story to fit in 40 pages. So it kind of depends.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a deep nerd question for you. Long ago and far away, you were experimenting with online stuff where you were kind of veering a little toward motion comics, but not really, with the way that stuff would pop up.
Yeah.
What did that? I mean, what did you get out of that? I mean, obviously we're telling some good stories, but I mean, as far as trying to push the form or move those edges out, was it a good experiment? Did you?
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, we're talking about thrillbent.com, which actually is still up and it's still live, and there's still a lot of free material to be seen there, including a lot of my stuff. And if you go there and you haven't seen this stuff before, it's not motion comics per se, because I think those are the devil's tools, because that's neither animation nor comics.
I agree.
In between things. This was a way of trying to expand the language of comics in a way that only digital can do. The simplest best example is with a comic book. You turn the page, and the only place I have to surprise you is when you turn the page, because the moment you turn the page, your peripheral vision is taking in everything, right? Now it's swipe by swipe, we can surprise you. Yeah. Go here. So, language like that, coming up with new ways of doing comics, new ways of playing with language, that was a lot. And I was able to take some of these back print and take some of that stuff there. But again, I still want to get back to this, and I've just been juggling a bunch of different things.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks.
Sure.
Will, should we drop the big question on him? Show the shirt. Mr. Waid, in any of your projects, or do you know if Marvel has any upcoming plans for any of the Quasars, either Wendell Vaughn or Avril Kincaid, any quantum band welders?
That's your big question, really?
Well, we have a podcast on Quasars, so we would like to know.
Here's the thing. I don't think have any plans. Here's the thing. Everyone has a certain line in the sand in terms of you loved as a kid and the characters that came after you became an adult and sort of read a lot of comics. And you're emotionally tied to I think that probably speaks for all of you guys. Right? There's an emotional tie to the characters you read when you were a teenager, and less of an emotional tie you read who were created like after you got to be a grown up, right? Mm-hmm. So in my case, my line is Firestorm. My line is, if you were created before Firestorm, I would love you unconditionally. If you were created after Firestorm, I think you may be an amazing character, but there's no emotional. I have no childlike attraction to you. So I'm like the worst guy ever asked about Quasar. So.
But you used him so well in your Fantastic Four, so.
Thank you. I don't even remember that.
Yeah, he was in there.
Right? Yes. That was a top reboard suggestion. I didn't even think about Quasar, but yeah, okay.
With the much missed Ringo, unfortunately.
Yeah, man, he was such a great artist.
Should ask him about Captain America. Captain America's his favorite.
Luckily, playing music that is in the public domain.
Yeah.
Wipe you off the map.
I'm guessing you guys can hear Tristan.
Yes, a lot. Yes. So, guys, any other questions?
Yeah, okay.
We have to let Mark go, because I think he only has a couple more minutes. So.
Okay. Well, there you go. Don't enjoy. We're all meant to become brothers.
You've worked for a lot of companies over the years. Are there any? And you've worked with a lot of great characters. You've created a lot of your own characters. Are there characters that you really want to get back to, or some that you haven't had a chance to do that you really want to do?
It's funny. There's a lot that I haven't had a chance to take a swing at yet. I mean, Iron Man would be one. Thor is the only other major Marvel character I've ever taken a swing at, and that's only because I like Thor, but I don't really have any ideas for Thor. And at DC, Batman's the only guy I really didn't get a chance to take a swing at. So there's not much left for me to do there, and going back is always dangerous. Like you're doing is competing with people's memory the first time you did it. And for instance, with Captain America, I never would have gone back to Captain America if not for Chris Samnee. Because that was my safety net. And it was no good that Chris Samnee was going to make me look good. I'm more interested in stuff like right now that I can do that's fresh and new. Here's something we can talk about. We need to talk about humanoids. We need to talk about the new books I'm doing through Humanoids Publishing. We're launching, and you'll see it at the Free Comic Days. There's a line of comics called H1 from Humanoids, which has been a European publisher for years. They did Mobius, Jodorowsky stuff, but now they're doing breaking into the American market with some monthlies. And one of them is called Ignited. I'm writing that with Kwanzaa Ojafeo because I couldn't resist the pitch. The pitch was, what if the Parkland kids, essentially? What if kids that had survived a school shooting were then given the powers and abilities to fight back and make change? What would they do? Cool. There's no supervillains to fight against. There's nothing to punch. But the great takeaway from reading about all those kids, and I've done so many deep dives into David Hogg and Gonzalez and all these kids, is I stand in awe of them. First off, because they didn't just go back to their lives; they were all activated. The common thread between all those kids who have come out of school shootings and have decided to step up is they just don't want to feel helpless anymore. The never want to feel helpless again. And they know that they can't fix the problems, but what they can do is keep goading us to do something to protect them, to do something about common sense gun laws, to do something, not to take away everybody's guns, but just do something about common sense gun laws. And so that was a passion thing for me, and I'm very passionate about, and to be able to do it in the medium that I love and really sort of make a statement along those lines, I couldn't pass that up.
Awesome.
So you said there'll be something there for Free Comic Book Day then this weekend?
Yeah, this for free, and then I think the first issue ships in July. I want to say it's called Ignited.
Awesome. So are you up to like 100 books a month now? Is that what you're writing?
Yeah. I wrote 3 while I was waiting for you to call. What is it? Doctor Strange, Invisible Woman, Ignited, History of the Marvel Universe, one super cool Fantastic Four thing that's coming up that I can't talk about yet, with an artist who has been on my bucket list since I was 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
And then there's a couple other things floating around out there, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, and I saw you were on Facebook. You thoroughly enjoyed Avengers Endgame like the rest of us, correct?
This is a true story. I will tell you a true story. Wait, how many people have seen it?
Oh, well, everyone here's seen it, yeah.
All seen it, okay.
Yeah.
What do we
And we're officially a spoiler podcast.
What do we do about people who are listening to your podcast who haven't seen it yet? Can I say something specific? What do you think?
I mean, unless we just say spoiler alerts, I mean, either drop out here or fast forward a couple minutes. But I mean, we reviewed the movie and spoiled the whole thing. Okay. So I mean, yeah.
It's a true story. The moment that the hammer flew into Captain America's hand, not only did the entire theater go berserk, but I was the loudest. And I was screaming and hollering and just hooping. It was the most joyous moment to me. I was so caught up in that moment and so overpowered that only after the lights came up did I realize I had literally ripped the arm off the chair I was sitting in. True story.
I feel that.
That was me in the theater. I was annoying my wife. I was like, he's picking up the hammer. And then it was that, and it was like, oh, he's about to say Avengers Assemble.
Yeah. That was it. Seriously, like Superman catching Lois Lane in an airplane.
Yes.
And then this. Those are my 2 favorite superhero moments of all time. Captain America catching that hammer just was the greatest thing I've ever seen in a Marvel movie.
It was amazing. Yep.
I was going to say, did you see, I forget what episode it was, but a couple episodes back on The Flash, I believe they called you out. It was like Wade Avenue or something.
I've been called out a few times in that show.
They still have to let you write it.
Simone, but, you know.
Oh, yeah, last night. Yeah.
Let me get back. Let me get back to something about Avengers Endgame too.
Oh, sure.
And you alluded to this about my Facebook post about it. So they didn't spoil it on Facebook, but man, it makes me nuts when people bitch about that one scene with the women together, the women of Marvel together.
It's the Lady Liberators.
Half the theater that I was in went apeshit, right? Justifiably so. It was a really cool moment. It lasted, 15 seconds?
Yeah. Tops, yeah.
And yet, there's so many man babies online who just got it. And I knew it the moment I saw that scene. I'm like, oh, they're going to go after this. And sure enough, they were losing their minds about, it's fan service. They keep throwing around the term fan service like it's a bad thing.
This whole movie was fan service.
Look, the whole movie was fan service.
Yeah.
Fan service is not a pejorative. Here's what fan service is. This is what they use. Fan service is code for I didn't like that moment. That's what fan service is. Mm-hmm. Here's what fan service is. And I said this in my Facebook post. Fan service is a guitar solo. That's what fan service is. Did you need it? No. Was it just the guitarist having a lot of fun? Yes. Did it ruin your enjoyment of the song? No. Did some other people really dig it? Yes. Then shut up.
Exactly.
Let them have fun. We're in such a place in pop culture where we're so eager to rain on everybody else's parade. Mm-hmm. And I just look at moments like that and I think, it's no skin off your nose. It's no skin off your nose whatsoever. Let somebody else have fun for 20 seconds. And there's scenes in the movie that I wouldn't have put in there, but I don't care. You know, I love the overall movie. No one can hate superhero movies better than superhero comic book fans.
Well, you know, everything does not have to be for me.
We went somewhere. I know I'm over time. I don't care. We went somewhere in the last 15, 20 years from comics are for everybody to comics are for me, only me. And it's such a selfish attitude, and it's so short-sighted, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It's, you know, I watch biography on A&E every once in a while. I watch A&E biography. Do I watch every episode of A&E biography? No. It's the ones that are interesting to me. Do I read every superhero comic coming out? No. I read the ones that interest me, but I don't think there's. I mean, let's pick an example. You know, I don't read Green Arrow, but I don't think we should stop publishing Green Arrow comics because I don't read them. That's ridiculous. You know, all of us, everybody on this call, that when you were growing up, there were comics that you didn't buy, not because you thought they were morally abhorrent. It's just, you know, I don't like Sergeant Rock. There you go. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
There's so many books out these days. I mean, I don't think that anyone has the time or money to read all them all. It's like but there's something for everybody. I don't know why people get so upset.
Dude, remember, I owned a comic shop. Like, every week, 8 billion comics would come in that door. And I read what I could to keep up with stuff, but there was a limit. But what was joyous about owning a comic book store is that children come in, and they're picking up stuff that it would never have occurred to me. People who don't look like I look in the mirror are coming in and picking out stuff that they like. And there's this, you know, the pushback against that stuff often tends to be, well, let's take an example. America. That's a good example. America is a book that Marvel did. It didn't sell terribly well. It was about, a woman of not white heritage. And it didn't do terribly well, but there were still people who liked it. And to say that it was politically, it was SJW political stuff. Well, here's the thing. Nobody will remember its forgotten book. Maybe, but I'll tell you what, in 1971, Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams were doing Green Lantern stories with Green Arrow that were every bit as topical and every bit as SJW, if you will, as what's happening in books today. And those books didn't sell worth a damn back then either. But guess what? They haven't been out of print for 40 years. They're considered, in retrospect, some of the best comics that were ever done. Am I saying specifically that America will be that? Not necessarily, but my overall point is we don't know. If you asked anybody in 1971, is this comic going to be remembered forever? No, of course not. Comics are for everybody, man.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it's a business at the end of the day. I mean, if you really don't like something or you really love something, vote with your wallet. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business, correct? I mean, Marvel would give us, a monthly Hulk comic where he wears a pink tutu every month if they thought it would sell books, right?
Copies that they do that, absolutely. It's business. Everybody in comics loves comics because there's not a lot of money to be made in it. So if you really want to do something you love, made money on, go do something else. Like everybody who works at Marvel on an executive level, on an editorial level, on a creative level, they all love comics. Same with DC. And they, again, they love comics, but no one's going to publish something that only 6 people are reading. There's a point at which that makes no financial sense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So if you don't like something, don't hate read it. Don't hate buy it, and then complain about it. Just don't read it. You're going to go pirate it anyway. So don't hate read stuff. It just all it does is send cross signals. Like if your book is selling 80,000 copies, and it's because 10,000 of you are out there hate reading it, well, you've chosen a poor way to spend your money.
Oh yeah.
You picked the wrong battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just worried we're gonna run out of time. No, but back to the Avengers Endgame. I know Cap is your favorite guy at Marvel. Did you enjoy everything they did with Captain America's storyline?
Yeah, I really did. I didn't see it coming. I thought they were, when they sent him back in the past, they thought they're gonna turn on the machine again and he's not gonna be back. And that's where he's gonna be forever. And then to get the reveal, the double reveal, was just touching as hell. And I'm also encouraged on a like sociological level, on a political level. I'm encouraged by the fact that as much pushback as I've seen against the women in the movie, I haven't seen any pushback on the fact that a black man is now Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's great.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the only thing I've heard about is they're like, oh, he doesn't have any superpowers. I was like, so?
So what?
What?
Yeah. I wish I had more time. Do you get any last burning questions that we haven't gotten to?
Anybody have any questions?
I got through mine.
I have a question now. What happened to the child? What did you do?
He's sleeping in his box.
He eventually got very tired and went to bed.
Okay.
It happened.
I was afraid you were boiling him for soup. Okay.
No. He comes and goes as he pleases. We have a very open household.
All right. Well, on that note, then, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Any other last minute promotions you want to do before you leave?
I don't think Ignited, history, I think that's the big stuff. I'm sure I'm going to remember stuff as soon as I get off the phone, but that's the stuff that I remember. So there you go. Be prepared for all of the comments under this YouTube video to be truly, truly repellent and awful and full of Comicsgate guys. That's going to happen. It'll be the first comment you get. So
we'll see.
Don't read the comments.
I never do. And if you have a final thought, that you want to get, just call our voicemail.
Okay. Yes.
What's the number, Philip?
614-382-2737. I mean, I can always send it to you too if you need it. So
yes, but yeah, call it and just anytime you have I want to tell these guys something. We will promote the heck out of it.
Cool. If I didn't think of anything we didn't cover, I will. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You bet.
Thanks.
Take off. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I've talked to him before, and I think he had limited time before, but, he's writing 50 million things.
Yeah, no, but that was great. I hope you guys could hear it, because I could barely hear anything. My connection went crazy there for a minute, but...
he was there, so...
So long as you heard him, that's all I care about.
Listen to the podcast, Charlie Esser.
I will. Well, you know I always do, because I'm on it. Yeah, I was actually surprised you guys could all hear Tristan playing Ode to Joy. I did not know he could play Ode to Joy. That's like the first time he actually played a freaking song. It's like, whoa! He takes guitar lessons.
I love his antics, but I got a Mark Waid on the phone. I'm just like, no, stop.
Well, I didn't bring him in. I didn't have him ask questions. I was very... he knows. I think that disappointed him a little. He is so used to getting that free ride.
Well, I was waiting for his weekly. What's going on with Venom, Mr. Wade?
Well, if he had his own headphones, he might have gotten in on that. But see, only I can hear what's going on. So he just. But he said, I have a question. In fact, save it for the end of the podcast, Philip. Tristan.
You think of me as a son.
I do think of you as my beloved eldest, youngest son, something. I don't know. I am very fatherly towards you, Philip. In the way that a drunken, neglectful father who lives in another state can be.
Oh, good Lord. All right. We're getting out of here. How can we compete with a Mr. Mark Waid? No Quasar, though, Will.
I know. It's all right.
It disappoints me.
We'll keep the hope alive.
Watch and listen to the Quantum Zone for your Quasar fix, I guess. Mm-hmm. All right, Will.
Ben will be back.
Will. Where can people find you and your work, Diary of Night?
You can find me at Wallred. That's at WALLRED at Gmail and Twitter and Facebook and all those things. And then you can find Diary of Night at diaryofnight.com. And there's this little podcast we do called the Quantum Zone Podcast, and because we kind of love Quasar, so you can always look for the Quantum Zone Podcast or go to quantumzone.org, which is where we have all kinds of great stuff about Quasar out there.
What about our Quasar podcast, Quantum
Zone? I don't know. What about it?
No.
What about our Quasar podcast?
Wish Maddie could have been here. Yeah. All right, Charlie Esser, let it rip.
Oh, well, if you would like to write to me or young Tristan in that old-fashioned email way, the way our Moz and Paz once did, do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Cloak and Dagger, and that's about it, because Gotham's gone at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIESSER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle. There we go.
All right.
Phil, where are you? Oh,
Yeah.
he's not anywhere.
Oh, I'm always on. You can always email me, nightwingpvp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I'm at nightwingpvp. But get a hold of Capes and Lunatics, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Facebook.com/Capes and Lunatics, @Capes and Lunatics on Twitter. We're on Instagram, Capes and Lunatics. The voicemail, which we gave Mr. Waid, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And finally, capesandlunatics.org.
I just hope that becomes a confession.
Oh, yeah, greetings from Cybertron, our YouTube exclusive show.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I would love it if that number just becomes a confession line for every comic book creator. It just calls me, yeah, man, I wanted to let you guys know I'm doing this thing, so yeah.
It'd be great if Mark Waid left that thought every week. Oh, the week with Waid.
Anyone.